Let's look at question number 7 of this paper. The question says, for the curve shown in the diagram, the normal to the curve at the point P with coordinates xy meets the x-axis at N. Now let me first highlight the normal. This is the normal to the curve. Therefore, I should draw a tangent also. So let me shift this thing a bit. Now this is the tangent, this is the normal, and let me draw something else also. Drawing a horizontal line, the x-axis, so that the triangle is completed. Now what information do I have? Let me first read further and then I'll proceed. Now the question says, the point M is the foot of the perpendicular from P to the x-axis that is seen over here. The curve is such that for all values of x in this interval, the area of triangle PMN, this is P and this is M and this is N, the area of this triangle is equal to tangent of x. Now let's get started. What background knowledge do I need? So let me draw a box and let me first fill in all the necessary piece of info that I might be coming across. First thing first, that if theta is the angle that line makes with horizontal, so in such a scenario, tangent of theta equals to m, where m is the slope of the line. That is the first piece of info. The second piece of info that I might be needing is dy by dx, the gradient function that gives us gradient of tangent to a curve. You get an expression, and by plugging in values of x, you can get the gradient at different points. So these are the two main things. And one more piece of info, tangent is perpendicular to normal. This is your tangent, this is your normal, this is a 90-degree angle. Now let me label some angles. If I label this angle as, let me label this thing as theta. Let me label this thing as phi. And naturally this one is 90 degree. And let me label this point as r. So therefore, theta plus phi equals to 90 degrees. Why? Because if one angle is 90 degrees, naturally the other two will add up to 90 degrees also. So this is the first piece of info that is beneficial for me. I'll shift it a bit up. That is the first thing. The second thing is, this angle is again 90 degrees. Therefore, if this angle is 90 degrees, and let me label this angle as beta, so beta plus phi equals to 90 degrees also, because tangent is perpendicular to normal. What conclusion can I draw? If I look at comparing coefficient, theta comes out to be the same thing as beta. So let me use my eraser and let me erase this beta, and this beta is actually the same thing as theta. Now those people who are studying M1, so they are aware of this fact. We use this concept in resolution of forces on an inclined plane. Right now we are studying pure math 3. So that is the first thing that I come across. Now it says is equal to tangent of x. What does it mean? That means the equation of curve is y is equals to fx, whatever the equation is. And when it says tangent of x, that means it's talking about this particular line. It's talking about dy by dx, or it's talking about tangent of x. Therefore, the first thing first, if this is the angle x, if this is the angle x, so I can replace it with x, I can replace it with x. So therefore, tangent of x, that is equals to mn divided by pm. Mn is the opposite for this angle theta. Pm is adjacent, but since the coordinate is xy, Pm is the same thing as y, and Mn remains as Mn because this is not x. X is from O till N. Mn remains as Mn. So therefore, what do I get? I get tangent x is equals to Mn divided by y. But isn't tangent x the same thing as the gradient function? So therefore, dy by dx is equals to mn over y. That is the first piece of info that I got for 1 mark. Now, this tangent x is also equals to area of triangle. So if I write tangent of x is half base into height, that is half. What is the base? Base is mn and height is pm. So this is mn and this is pm. So this is half into mn equals to mn multiplied by pm, which is y. This is tangent of x. Now this is one piece of info that I got. Let me label this thing as equation 2, because the first equation is this one. That is the first one. Now, how do I reach this conclusion? That is this equation, half y square dy by dx is equals to tangent of x. Now, if I make mn the subject from both the equation, so what does mn equals to? Mn is y multiplied by dy by dx. What else? Mn equals to 2 tangent x divided by y. This is mn, this is mn. In other words, y dy by dx is equals to 2 tangent x over y. I think we are getting close to it and we are almost done. So therefore, y square divided by 2 dy by dx is equals to tangent of x, and that is what we have proved. So now it was kind of tricky. It was not difficult as such, but it was kind of an information overload. So you have to be very, very careful at each step on how do you proceed with this. So you earned the 1 mark, you earned another 2 marks. Let's go to the third part, which is part B. Now it says, given that when x is 0, y is 1, solve this differential equation, find the equation of the curve expressing y in terms of x. So we are looking for a particular solution. So our equation is y square over 2 dy by dx is tangent x. Y square or half y square dy is equals to tangent x dx. That is what we are out to solve. Integrate both sides. And now remember one thing, another info box that I'll be needing, that is when we talk about tangent of x, we have to remember that f prime x over fx dx, integral of such a fraction is ln of the denominator plus c. If the numerator is the derivative of denominator, then the integral is ln of denominator. Now, if I write tangent x is basically sine x over cosine x dx, and the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So put a negative over here, put a negative outside to balance it. So therefore, this is negative ln of cosine x plus c. That is the integral for this part. So now I'll write, let's integrate simultaneously both sides. So now this is half y cube over 3, that is equals to negative ln cosine x plus c. This c is the overall constant of integration, keeping both the integrals in mind. Now there are two options. Either I evaluate C at the moment, or I can make the subject and then evaluate C. So I'll go with my gut feeling. I'll first evaluate. So when x is 0, y is 1. So this is 1 over 6, 1 cube. That is negative ln cosine of 0. Of course, we are working in radians, plus C. We know that cosine of 0 is 1, but unfortunately, ln of 1 is 0. So basically, you are getting a 0. So therefore, the value of C comes out to be 1 over 6. Rewrite the equation again. 1 over 6 y cube. That is negative ln cosine x. You can use a bracket. You can use a modulus sign. Modulus is more appropriate when we are plugging in the values and there comes a negative value. So the modulus come into action. And this is 1/6. So multiply throughout by 6. Therefore, y cube is minus 6 ln cosine x plus 1. And what else can we do? I can raise this minus 6 as a power of this, or I can let it remain as it is. I can write this thing as minus 6 ln cosine x, and therefore y is equals to cube root of 1 minus 6 ln cosine x, and that is the particular solution for this particular question. Now, let me give you an idea. In some scenario, the examiner can convert it into sec also, because sec is the reciprocal of cosine. So sec x is the reciprocal of cosine. If I apply the rule of log, this can also be written as 6 ln sec x plus 1. So this particular step can be written as this also. Just giving you some info. There might be a question in which the examiner will make use of this property. So this question is thoroughly done. Let me move to the next question. That is this one. The diagram shows the curve and its maximum point. Part A, find the exact coordinates, and part B is integration by parts, and then there is something special at the very end. So the first part is for 4 marks, and now it's a question, it's a scenario of quotient rule. So we are talking about quotient rule, and the background info that you need, that is, if y equals to u over v, where u is a function of x, v is a function of x, therefore dy by dx, that is v u prime minus u v prime divided by v square. So if I write this thing as y is equals to ln x over x power 4, u is ln x, u prime is 1 over x, v is x power 4, v prime is 4x cube. Since we are starting with quotient rule, our team player, the leader, is v, so I have marked v at that corner. Dy by dx is equals to x power 4 multiplied with 1 over x. There is a negative sign in the middle. That is 4x cube into ln x. Now this is x power 4 over x. This simplifies to x cube. Let me take x cube common out. So therefore this is 1 minus 4 ln x. Simple working. And they are simply asking for the coordinates of m. That means the x coordinate as well as the y coordinate. Dy by dx equals to 0. Therefore x cube equals to 0. Therefore 1 minus 4 ln x equals to 0. Let's look at the question. I can see it with my own eyes that x cannot be 0 and m is just 1 point. So therefore please convey it to the examiner very explicitly that you are rejecting this. 1 minus 4 ln x equals to 0, minus 4 ln x equals to minus 1, negative cancel, ln x is equals to 1/4, therefore x is e raised to power of 1/4. That is the x coordinate. Now we are interested in the y coordinate. So y is ln x over x4, y is equals to ln x over x power 4, that is ln e raised to power of 1/4. The whole thing divided by x is e raised to power of 1/4 raised to power of 4. This is 1/4 ln e and this one is e raised to power of 1. So what am I left with? This is 1/4 into divided by 1 over e, multiplication by 1 over e, division by e is multiplication by 1 over e. That is 1 over 4e. Therefore, the coordinates of m should be written as e raised to power of 1/4, comma 1 over 4e. That is the final answer for this particular part. Now let's move to the second part. Now it's asking us to use integration by parts. Another box to write the formula for integration by parts, which is of course written in the formula booklet. That is integral of u dv. That is u v minus integral v du. It has to be a product of two functions. That means, therefore, first of all, I should write this thing as integral x minus 4 ln x dx. And we will worry about all the other details such as this, the lesser sign later on. First, focus on doing the integration. Now, when we apply the rule LATE for choosing u in integration by parts, what is the rule? L for log, A for algebraic function, T for trig, E for exponential. This is the rule. So therefore, u has to be log. So therefore, u is ln x and dv is x minus 4 dx. Now be very, very careful because the question is of 6 marks. You write du over here, which is 1 over x dx, and now integrate this thing. That is x minus 4 plus 1 divided by minus 4 plus 1, and follow the arrows u into v minus integral v du. So now then you are multiplying this with this. So the very first step, that is x raised to power of minus 3 divided by minus 3, x raised to power of minus 3 divided by minus 3. It's your choice to leave it as a power, as a negative index, negative power, or you can write this thing as 1 over x cubed. That's entirely your choice. This negative sign, this negative 3 becomes a positive. So that is the first thing. Then the integral sign. And when I multiply this thing, this is 1 over x into 1 over x cubed. 1 over x into 1 over x cubed. And do not forget this positive 3. So therefore 1/3 comes on the outside. Let's have a double check. So this negative became positive. This is negative 3. This is negative. That's 1/3. This is 1 over x. This is x raised to power of minus 3, which is 1 over x cubed. So therefore, this thing is exactly the same thing as this. So now, it's just basic integration. X raised to power of minus 4. The integration is this thing, which is x raised to power of minus 3 divided by minus 3. Now, keeping this in mind, let's proceed. X raised to power of minus 3 divided by minus 3 plus 1/3. The value, not the value as such, the expression after this integration is x raised to power of minus 3 divided by minus 3. And is there anything else left? I think that's about it. Therefore, what should I take common? I can take the x cube and the x raised to power of minus 3 common. I can take the minus 3 and the minus 3 common. Is there anything else? No, there is nothing else except that I forgot to write ln x in the beginning. So let me just shift it a bit. And that is what happens when you are doing the recording and you are also solving a question. So therefore, this one is ln x. This is one thing. This one again, let me shift it to the corner. So this one is ln x, like this. Now I can take the green things common. So therefore, x raised to power of minus 3 divided by minus 3. This is ln x plus 1/3. This is what you get. And now what are the limits? The limits are 1 and a. A is a number greater than 1. So this is 1 and a. Now first of all, get rid of this negative sign by changing their positions. The lower limit becomes the upper limit and vice versa. So therefore this is 1 over 3 x cube, and this is ln x plus 1/3, and this a goes down and 1 goes up. Now plug in. When I plug in 1, this is 1/3, this is ln of 1 plus 1/3. That is the first and foremost thing. Negative sign. When we plug in a, this is 1 over 3a cube, and this is ln a plus 1/3. Again, I'll stop and pause and double check rather than scribbling out the wrong answers and scratching and doing rough work and all these things. So let me double check. This is x cube, this is x. So 1 goes here, remains as 1. 1 goes over here, that's taken care of. Now plug in a. A goes here, that's a cube. A goes here, that is ln a. Looks perfect to me. Now ln of 1 is 0, that's good riddance. So this is 1 over 9 minus 1 over 3a cube, and this whole expression will be there, which is ln a plus 1/3. Now we know that they are saying the value of this integral would be lesser than 1 over 9 and a is greater than 1. That means this is 1 over 9. This whole thing will have some positive value. The reason being a is greater than 1. So ln of a will be positive, plus 1/3, it will be positive, this will be positive, overall this will be positive. So 1 over 9 minus some value will definitely be lesser than 1 over 9, and that is what the conceptual question that the examiner has asked. So it was a very, very nice question. Simple, not so simple, I must say. There was, besides ln x, there was no trig function or exponential or nothing like that. It was simple algebra, but a good command of algebraic technique was needed, taking care of the negative sign, thinking logically at the very end. So all these things were required to do this question perfectly. Now let's look at question number 9. Now question number 9 says the quadrilateral ABCD is a trapezium. That means it has one pair of parallel sides, and soon it's gonna tell which side is that. ABCD is a trapezium in which AB and DC are parallel. You don't have to draw any diagram, and you cannot, because it's a 3D coordinates. It's 3D vectors. So you can just draw a rough 2D sketch, but as such, you might need it at the very end. With respect to origin O, the position vectors are given by such and such and such. So this is the information given. The first part is pretty straightforward. That is basic O-level vectors, I must say. So DC is 3 times AB. DC is OC minus OD. That is 3 times OB minus OA, working in terms of position vectors. First make OD the subject, or first evaluate the right hand side. OC is 2, 2 minus 3, 2, 2 and negative 3. And OD is OD and 3 times OB minus OA. So this is OB, which is 131, and OB and is written, and OA is minus 1, 2, 3, minus 1, 2 and 3. Double check. This is 2, 2 minus 3. This is 2, 2 minus 3. That's done. OA is minus 1, 2 and 3, minus 1, 2 and 3. And this is 1, 3, 1. This is 1, 3, 1. And there is a 3 over here. Now simplify. This is 2, 2, negative 3, minus OD. That is 3 times 1 minus minus 1 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 3 is minus 2. Let's multiply. That is 6, 3 minus 6. And this is 2, 2 minus 3 minus OD. So now 2, 2 minus 3 minus 6, 3 minus 6. That is equals to OD. So what do you have as OD? OD is 2 minus 6 is minus 4. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. Negative 3 minus negative 6. Negative 3 plus 6, which is 3. So this is OD, which can also be written as minus 4i minus j plus 3k. That is the first thing. Now, instead of flipping the pages and then going back and forth, on the next page, I have already written OA and OB and OC and OD beforehand. And now let's look at this question. State a vector equation for the line. Yani, it means something very, very obvious. State a vector equation for the line through A and B. So we know this concept. R is equals to A plus lambda B. A is the direction vector and B is the direction vector and A is the fixed point. So now it says A and B. So which one should I choose as my fixed point? Let me choose minus 1, 2 and 3. So this is minus 1, 2 and 3 and lambda multiplied by B. So that should be AB, and AB came out to be 2, 1 minus 2. This equation is perfectly fine. It can also be R is equals to mu 2, 1 minus 2, and instead of A, I could have written B, and B is 1, 3, 1. So B could also be written as 1, 3, 1. It's your choice which equation can you choose. And one more thing, the scalar multiple of this can also be written. It could be minus 2, positive 1 and positive 2. So that is also a possibility. Negative, negative and a positive. Now the coordinates, the position vectors are already written. Find the distance between parallel sides and hence find the area of the trapezium. Now I need to draw a figure. This is like a parallel side and these are two non-parallel sides. And the parallel sides are which one? They are AB and DC. So therefore I have AB, I have DC. I don't care which one is bigger, which one is smaller. That's not the thing over here. And I need a perpendicular distance. And I need this distance H. Let me call this as P. Let me call this as Q. So area of this trapezium, which is half sum of parallel sides P plus Q multiplied by H. That is what we are going to apply. Can I find what is AB? I already have the equation of AB. Which one should I choose? I can choose any one. Let me choose this one. So if I choose this equation, let me double check. AB and B is 1, 3, 1. So therefore, if I open this up, this is 1 plus 2 mu. This is 3 plus mu and 1 minus 2 mu. This is any point on AB. So let me write a point on line AB can be written as OP, which is 1 plus 2 mu, 3 plus mu and 1 minus 2 mu. Of course, I could use this equation in terms of lambda also, but then remember, the value of lambda and mu will come out to be different, but the final answer, whatever we are looking for, will come out to be the same. So now this is the point. How can I find this perpendicular distance? I can find this perpendicular distance from either D onto this line, if this diagram is like this, or C onto this line, because we do not know which one is bigger, which one is smaller, and we don't care because this distance would still be the same. So let's use D or let's use C. So now find perpendicular distance from C to line AB. Now someone can ask this question, can we do it the other way around? Can we find it using a perpendicular distance from D to AB? Of course we can. Can we find the perpendicular distance from A to DC? Yes. Can we find the perpendicular distance from B to DC? Yes. All these four options are possible. But why am I using the equation of a line AB? Because we have already found this. So let's use this one. So now the concept is, let me draw a diagram. So this is a line going. This is a point C. I'm just focusing on this one. And this is a line passing through A and B. And this is the perpendicular. So this is the concept of perpendicular distance from point to a line. Let this point, let's call it P. So do I have C? Yes. Do I have P? Yes. So if I find CP, so CP is OP minus OC. So OP is 1 plus 2 mu, and this is 3 plus mu, 1 minus 2 mu minus OC. So if I subtract OC, which is 2 minus 3. So what does it simplify to? The first one simplifies, the first line simplifies to 2 mu minus 1. The second line simplifies to mu plus 1. The third line simplifies to 1 plus 3 is 4. This is 4 minus 2 mu, or minus 2 mu plus 4. This is what you get. Now this CP is perpendicular to the line AB. Basically, it's perpendicular to the direction vector. So line CP dot product with direction vector of line AB should equal to 0. Scalar product, dot product is 0 for perpendicular vectors. Do I have AB? Yes, I have. And that is 2, 1 minus 2. So this is 2, 1, negative 2. And CP is 2 mu minus 1, mu plus 1, minus 2 mu plus 4. Dot product and make it equal to 0. So let's simplify this into this. So therefore this is 4 mu minus 2, and then this into this, that is mu plus 1, and this one is minus 2 into minus, and that is positive 4 mu, and this is negative 8 equals to 0. So now this is 4 mu, this is mu, this is 4 mu, that is 9 mu altogether. And this is negative 8, negative 2, that's negative 10 plus 1, negative 9, transferred, that is 9. So therefore mu comes out to be a beautiful 1. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the perpendicular distance. So now for perpendicular distance, but before that I need to find CP. So CP is basically 2 mu minus 1, that is 2 into 1 minus 1. And this is 1 plus 1. This is minus 2 into 1 plus 4. Let me simplify this. So this is 1 over here, this is 2 over here, and 4 minus 2 is again 2. So therefore magnitude of CP, that is 1 square, 2 square, 2 square, under root. I think this is square root of 9, which comes out to be 3 units. So again a beautiful answer without any need for a calculator. What else do I need? I need to find the magnitude of AB. And I need to find the magnitude of DC. I'm running short of space, so I might have to add a page more. So let me just add a page over here. It's the same copy paste. So therefore, if I have AB, I need AB. AB is how much? AB is 2, 1 minus 2. So AB is 2, 1, negative 2. And magnitude of AB looks like 3 again. I need what is CD. So let me first find CD. Subtract in any order, who cares? Minus 4 minus 2 is minus 6. And this is minus 1, negative 2 is negative 3. And let me just shift it up. And what else do I need? 3 minus minus 3, that is 6. So therefore minus 6, minus 3 and 6. So minus 6, minus 3 and 6. And magnitude of CD would be 6 square, which is 36, 3 square, which is 9, 6 square, which is 36. So 72 and 9, 81. That's again a beautiful number, which is 9 units. This is 3 units. And height was how much? 3 units. So this is half sum of parallel sides, which is 3 plus 9 multiplied by 3. So therefore this is 12 divided by 2 is 6, 6 into 3 is 18. 18 square units is the answer for this area of a trapezium. So that was a good, thorough, fully involved question. Now let's move to the last question, which is about complex number, the algebraic aspect of a complex number. It says verify that minus 1 plus root 2i is a root of this equation. Now, before we plug in this root, basically this is a concept of factor theorem. We know that if an expression is divided by a linear factor, f of that value should equal to 0. So if I write f of z is z power 4, plus 3z square plus 2z plus 12, and it is divided by a factor. This thing is a root. So f of minus 1 plus root 2I should equal to 0. First simplify a bit, take something common out from here. So this is f of z is first of all z square plus 3 plus 2 times z plus 12. Now let me first z square this thing. Minus 1 plus root 2I, if I square it, what do I get? This is 1, and this is 2 into minus 1 into this, that is 2 root 2I, and this is root 2I, the whole thing square. This is 1, this is negative 2 root 2I, and this is 2I square, which becomes negative 2. So therefore this is negative 1 minus 2 root 2I. So this is after squaring. So therefore this is negative 1 plus 2 root 2I. I've written it like this. And over here the z square, I'll write minus 1 plus minus 1 negative 2 root 2I plus 3. So therefore this is negative 1 on the outside, 1 plus 2 root 2I, and this is 2 minus 2 root 2I. Simplify it further. This is just the first two parts that I'm doing. Right now I'm focusing on this. I'm focusing on this only for right now. I'll come back to it in a short while. So now this is negative 1. This is 1 plus 2 root 2I, and this is 2 common. 1 minus is there any use of taking common? Well, there is, but I was looking for something else. That is not happening, something like a plus b or a minus b. So this is 1 minus root 2I. And then let me add the further terms. This is 2 times z, which is minus 1 plus root 2I, and this is plus 12, and this is plus the same thing 2 times, or let me multiply it out. So this is minus 2, and this is plus 2 root 2I plus 12. Simplify it further. So therefore this is 2 root 2I, and this is plus 10. So now my focus should not be on this, it should be on this. So now when I multiply it out, it is like too much algebra. 1 into 1, that is 1. 1 into this thing, that is minus root 2I, and therefore 2 root 2 into 1, that is 2 root 2I, and this thing into this thing. So the root 2 will become 2, 2 and 2 will become 4. So that is minus 4I square, which will become plus 4. And do not forget this minus 1 and this 2. This is negative 2 on the outside. And this is 2 root 2I plus 10. Now let us simplify it further. So this is negative 2. This is positive 2 root 2I. And this is 2 root 2I. And this is negative 2 into 4 is negative 8 plus 2 root 2I, and this is plus 10. So now I might see this is 4. Now I got this thing, this is 4. Okay, so now let's double check. So this negative 2, negative 8 plus 10, it cancels off. 2 root 2 plus 2 root 2, and there should be something negative, and this one is negative. So let me grab the eraser, and this thing is negative. So therefore this thing cancels off, and what are you left with? You are left with a 0. That means for 3 marks you have proven that yes, indeed it's a root of this equation. Now it's a power 4 quartic equation, and we are looking for other roots of this equation. First of all, minus 1 plus root 2I, that is what we started with. That is the one of the root. Minus 1 root 2I with a negative sign, that is the concept of conjugate, that is the other root. So therefore, let me form a quadratic out of it. Z minus minus 1 plus root 2I, Z minus minus 1 minus root 2i. I'm forming a quadratic. This is z plus 1 minus root 2i, and this is z plus 1 plus root 2i, and this is something like this. So this is z plus 1, this is z plus 1, this is minus root 2i, this is positive root 2i. There is a minus sign, there is a plus sign. So this is like background knowledge. A plus bi, a minus bi, that is a square plus b square, because I square is minus 1. So a, and this is bi, and this is a, and this is bi. So this is z plus 1 whole square plus root 2 whole square, that is z square plus 2z plus 1 plus 2, that is z square plus 2z plus 3. This is the quadratic root out of the two linear roots. That is the first thing that I got. Now I need more space, and the examiner has given a lot of space for this last question. Now what do I do now? Let me take this quadratic equation and let me divide. So z4 plus 3z square, remember the cubic term is missing. So z4 plus 0z cube, and then what are the coefficients? It's 3 and 2 and 12. It's 3 and 2 and 12. This 5-term expression, quartic equation is now being divided by z square plus 2z plus 3. Now it's a question of algebraic division, long division as it's popularly known. Take the highest power, and divide. Z4 over z square, that is z square. Multiply throughout, that is z4 plus 2z cube plus 3z square. Change the signs and add. So this is negative, negative, negative. So therefore, what is left? We are left with minus 2z cube. Pull the other terms down. This is 2z. And do I need the constant also? I think you might be needing it. So therefore, let me first think of it. So this is minus 2z cube. Let me make a proper box. Minus 2z cube divided by z square, that is minus 2z. So therefore, this is minus 2z cube, and minus 2z into 2z, that is negative 4z. So that means I should write a 0z square also here, and this is a square. Be very, very careful. And what else is there? And minus 2z into 3, that is minus 6z. So therefore, let me move this to the side. There is a positive sign, and this is negative 6z. Now let's double check. First of all, this z square is giving me a 0 thing. And what else is there? This negative 2z cube divided by z square is negative 2z. This into this is this thing. Negative 2z into 2z, that's negative 4z square. Perfect. Negative 2z into 3 is negative 6z. So it's perfectly fine. Again, repeat the same process. Change the sign. This becomes plus, this becomes plus, this becomes plus, and add it up. This cancels off. You are left with 4z square. You are left with 8z. And take the 12 down. And for the last time, repeat the process. 4z square over z square, that is 4. That is 4z square plus 8z plus 12. Looks everything perfect to me. Negative sign, negative sign, negative sign. You get a 0. You should be getting a 0 because it was a factor. So therefore, what is the ending of the story? The function of z is z square plus 2z plus 3. You already know the two roots from here. That's how you got this quadratic factor. Z square minus 2z plus 4. And now let me apply the quadratic formula for this part. So let me first double check, is the discriminant negative or not? Negative 2 whole square minus 4 into 1 into 4. Yes, it's negative. So 4 minus 16 is negative 12. This is b square minus 4ac. So therefore, z is equals to minus b plus minus square root of negative 12 divided by 2 times 1. Now let me play around with square root of negative 12. That is 3 into 4 with a negative sign. That is 2 root negative 3. That is 2 root 3i. That is what you should be getting. So 2 plus minus 2 root 3i divided by 2. And this comes out to be 1 plus minus root 3i. This is the answer that you get. So f of z equals to 0. The first two roots were already known, minus 1 plus root 2i, minus 1 minus root 2i. And from this one, what are the two new roots that you got? 1 plus root 3i, 1 plus root 3i. So what you got is two pairs of complex conjugate roots. And that was a thorough question in which algebraic division was there, in which the concept of factor theorem was there, in which plugging in multiplying a plus bi, a minus bi. So now we have seen the major questions of this particular paper, and the last 4 questions were not so simple, and that these are the questions that distinguishes between an A star versus an A, or an A versus a B. Take care. See you again.